What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the electric guitar tutorial for Every Day by Lincoln Brewster, the live version. So let's jump right into it. Alright, so I'm playing through the patch that I created for the Line 6 Helix, HX Stomp, HX Effects, and Pod Go. So if you're interested in that and the sounds, feel free to click below in the description and it'll take you right there to pick up this patch. So this song is in the key of D. And if you're coming from the tutorial I created for Majestic, this song on the live version tails one into each other. So Majestic was in the key of D, now we're in the key of D for Every Day. At the beginning of the song, there's like kind of a percussive thing going on with shakers, tambourines. Lincoln's kind of getting the crowd engaged, but then when the full band comes in, it kind of sounds something like this. So I'm just going to kind of go over the main theme. So it's that kind of hybrid picking that's going to come up in a few different parts of the song. And so what I'm doing is I'm using my open D string and my ring finger on the 3rd fret B string. And so what I talked about in the last video in Majestic is I talked about anchor points, and this anchor points really just translates between all of these songs. So Lincoln, he's very much handling rhythmic parts and lead parts. So, and he's also focusing on singing. So it's really helpful to know anchor points because you don't have to be looking at the guitar necessarily to be able to know where you're at on the fretboard, and you can access all the chords without really having to look. I'm using my ring finger since we're in the key of D as the anchor point. So you'll see a lot of the chords, pretty much, I would say all of them, have that ring finger down on the B string 3rd fret as an anchor point. So if I played my D chord, my G chord, ring finger still there, my B minor, ring finger still there, and my A chord, my ring finger still there. That's an A sus right there. That first part goes like this. So you gotta get kind of comfortable with, so I'm using my pick for the D string and my ring finger for the B string. And I'm plucking them at the same time. Then you have to get used to transitioning between playing big power chords to this. So that first chord is your G chord. Okay, so that first chord, I play my G chord like this. It's like a G5 power chord, and my A string is actually being muted by my middle finger. So I can really dig into it. So then there's a shift in there. So it's just a half step down on your B string. And I'm using my same finger because when I shift back up, it's ready for my next chord. So my next chord is my B minor 7. Ring finger still on the 3rd fret. I'm adding my middle finger to the 2nd fret G string, first finger on the 2nd fret A string. And I'm not hitting the E string, and I'm not hitting the high E string, the low or the high. So it goes like this. Then it goes full band. goes your G chord to your D chord. And I play my D chords like this. This is how Lincoln Brewster plays them. It's a D5 chord, and my middle finger is actually just there to mute the low E string, so I can really dig into every single string. Not even think about it, and then it just sounds clean. So the other reason why I have my middle finger there is so I can easily transition to my G chord. When I transition to my G chord, I let off my my first finger, and then I add my pinky. So then that interlude goes G, D, B minor, then it goes to A. So I'm actually barring the D string, G string, and B string, adding my first finger, or adding just the A string. And then I'm adding my ring finger still as the anchor point. That never changed. So that's an A sus chord. So then you're in the first verse. And feel free to add that high E string in there too. So then in the second half of your verse, you're pretty much down for the first verse especially. And eventually you start coming in the second half of the verse. Back in with that. And then you're in the chorus. So what's interesting about the chorus, Lincoln Brewster's playing low again on the chords. So there's like a little bounce there on that B minor. So there's this other thing that you can do, and I don't know if he's playing that or somebody else is playing it, but there's a cool like octave thing that happens here. So to put it in a context, it's only on the second time of that. So how I'm doing that is I'm playing my first finger on the A string, 5th fret, and then pinky on the 7th fret D string, or G string. And it's just half step down, back up. I'm using the rest of my fingers to really mute the other strings. And that's a quick jump back to your G chord. So I'm going to play it all in context again. And then we're back quickly in the verse. And that's a note here. And then it goes like this. It's kind of like buried a little bit, but you can play it there. So it's the 10th fret B string. And then it's a shift up to the 12th fret B string. And then your ring finger on the 14th fret E string. And then you're back to the... You can also play kind of the end of the second verse. I feel it like he really digs into that. And how I'm digging, I'm actually choosing a different string to do that because I feel like I have more room to play there. So that's actually the 7th fret G string. So another common theme in this song, in this entire album actually, is they really like to do that type of stuff. So, and that's basically just, I'm using kind of 2 fingers, kind of putting more pressure on my ring finger. And it's just a kind of like a rake. Just kind of give a little bit more push. Specifically what I'm talking about in the 2nd verse, it's... And there's like 2 there. So it's like a down, up, down, up. That's something to look out for. So then the bridge is when you have the kind of the most movement from Lincoln's side of things. So in the bridge, it's just 1 big D chord. And then the band just kind of drops. And then Lincoln Brewster comes in with... And then it's the band is kind of down. So I'm going to kind of give you the context of kind of the boxes of where to play this. So like if you're familiar with the pentatonic scale, and if you're not familiar, I suggest taking private lessons with me. Link down below. So the pentatonic scale, this is kind of this box for the key of D. But then he starts on the A string, the root note, your D note on the A string, 5th fret. Kind of hammer on to the 7th fret, A string. Slide up to the 9th fret. And then you're barring your D string and your G string. And as well as your B string. So it's just like a lot of like hammer-ons and pull-offs. So it's a slide up. So that's a hammer-on first on the G string. And then another hammer-on pull-off deal on your D string, 7th to 9th. And then you kind of end it on a final hammer-on pull-off deal on your A string. And then it's a slide down, then a slide back up, and then it's that. So I'll play it again. So then it's a slide back up, barring D string, G string, B string. So then you're cluster picking here. Pay attention to the right hand as well as what's happening on the left hand. And then you kind of want to play a little soft there. You don't really want to chicken pick it necessarily. You're just kind of letting the lick kind of die. So you're hammering on with your middle finger. And you're picking your D string, but I'm plucking with my middle finger and ring finger on the G string and the B string. Make sense? And then he comes in with... break that down for you. That lick right there, you're going to see that a lot. That lick right there. That's like his lick right there. So how I'm going to break that down is your middle finger on the 9th fret E string, high E string, to bend up. ring finger on the 10th fret B string, middle finger on the 9th fret G string. And if you're paying attention, that's a triad right there. If you played those notes at the same time, that's like a D chord shape. So if I played it down here, that's your D chord. But up here, it would technically be an A chord. First finger, 7th fret B string. And then I use my ring finger again on that 7th or 9th fret G string. First finger, 7th fret. And then you're down another fret to the 6th fret G string. That's where you start the bend again. That's kind of the end of your cycle, and then you're just repeating it an octave down. So there's two ways you can do it. You can use your ring finger on your D string, 7th fret, and then your middle finger on the 7th fret A string, and then a slide up, or you can bar these two notes. I like to do that with my middle finger, so it's just barred instead of. So then it's a slide up from the A string 7th to 9th. So to put it in context. So then after that, he goes to, I'm going to go to the bridge middle position if you have a Strat or anything with a middle pickup. That is the pickup that I think he's switching to. So you're back to chords now. So I pulled my volume knob way back. So he plays that beginning bridge really light like that, and then there's a picking part that comes in. So I'm going to play that slow. And so now I'm using that traditional D chord voicing. So I'm using my middle finger on the fret below my ring finger on that 2nd fret. Because we want that deal. So that's on that B string. So your middle finger is getting a lot of movement here. So then I'm using upstrokes on that high E string and then adding my middle finger. So then he does it for a few measures. And then here's where he breaks out again, where it's starting to build into the second part of the bridge / chorus 2, whatever you want to call it. So it goes like this. So that's open D string. And I'm playing this whole thing with my first finger. 7th fret G string. 6th fret G string. Back to the 7th. Down to the 2nd fret. All maintaining that open D string. So then you're back to chords. So then the last thing I want to cover is there's a drop after that bridge second chorus. So we're playing big, and then when we're back into the chorus, there's a band drop. So it goes. So it's just key to know that part. So you're skipping that G chord. Well, thank you so much for watching this video. If you found this video helpful, feel free to hit the thumbs up button located down below. And if you have a Line 6 Helix, HX Stomp, HX Effects, or Pod Go, feel free to click the link down below in the description to pick up the patch. Also, if you're wanting to go deeper in the knowledge of electric guitar, guitar technique, guitar music theory, I have slots available for private one-on-one lessons via Zoom. Click the link down below to book. Sweet, we'll see you guys in the next video.